Hey everybody, how are you doing? This is Alexander with Beer Powered Gaming, bringing you the second episode of this week's Check It Out. Today we're going to be looking at Dragon Age Inquisition for the PS4. One of, I think, the best RPGs to come out on the PlayStation so far this year. Well, actually I think it was last year. But it was a holiday season title. So, we're here looking at this lovely game that I thought was just fantastic when I was playing it. I played all the way through, beat it. It was great. Especially because Dragon Age 2, which I think was... Well, anyways, Dragon Age 2 wasn't as great as they were saying it was going to be. The art direction looked a little unpolished. It was still fun, but it was very claustrophobic. It all took place in one city. And I have to say that this game definitely just jumps miles ahead of its predecessor in terms of story and everything else. So here I am looking at some of the options here. We're going to be taking a look. As you can see, it's got a lot more options than Dying Light did. More than your standard console fare. All kinds of nice things that you can tweak. Audio, display, invert the X and Y, center camera, a lot of little things here, hiding your helmet, little typical RPG option there. There's also friendly fire if you want to increase the challenges of the game. You can turn on friendly fire so that you need to worry where you're going to launch your spells and stuff like that. There's a lot of area effect spells. There's also persistent gore and all kinds of stuff like that. It's a lot of neat little tweaks that you can do considering it's a console game. But we're just going to go ahead and start the game here. Alright, so here I am. I'm creating a character here. You have some choices. You have human, elf, and you can switch between male and female, but you have human, elf, dwarf, and Kunari. For the first time you can play as a Kunari, and that's what we're going to be playing as today for the first mission of the game. It is really cool because I always liked the Kunari. And after you choose your race, you have a couple class bases here. You have two-handed, weapon and shield, mage, archer, as well as rogue. And then you can choose your difficulty. You have normal, hard, and nightmare, which is really hard, and then you have casual, which is kind of a knock, because I think a lot of people believe that this game is actually a casual version of RPGs, which in a sense it kind of is actually more of a casual RPG. But it's still fun, large, expansive. The story's great. It's Bioware is well known for its stories, and they do not disappoint in this game at all. I think the story is really good. So here we're going to start as our Kunari two-handed warrior. Now don't feel bad, that's just a focused selection of classes. The base classes are still archer, rogue, warrior, mage. I think it's just rogue, warrior, and mage, and then within that you can still do archer, sword and shield, two-handed, and all the different types of mages. So you don't have to feel like you're stuck with a two-handed weapon. You can move towards sword and shield. The only thing is that when you chose two-handed weapon, you get a couple two-handed skills for free, but you can change those once you get to the keep and get a it's like a trinket that changes the whole spec. It's like a respec. So I'm going to create a character here. You can choose from their presets, and then I liked preset number 3. And from the presets, you can customize your character. Character customization in this game, you can spend hours on it. It's pretty cool. Actually, I chose preset number 4. So you can change there's all little sliders, very typical character customization there. You can change the shape of your face, a couple general changes, to the look of your character. You can't change the body type. That's not something they want to do. It's typical Bioware. You're not going to make yourself really small or really tall or really fat or really skinny. So you're not going to be doing much of that. The one thing I do have, the kind of a criticism on the character creation, is I have this big surly Kunari warrior and I only have 2 voice options, and both voice options are actually really terrible. You can do a general eye color here in the main thing here, but when you're doing the more in-depth customization, you can actually choose from a color wheel and make your own custom eye colors, and I think that's really cool. You can do custom hair colors, custom eye colors, custom makeup. It's pretty crazy, and some people have made some really, really awesome characters on this game. So that's just me just picking up my horns. I like I like the armored horns. I thought those were pretty cool. So I'm just looking through all the different horn types for you. And then there's all different kinds of, basic hair colors and beards, and then of course the 2 lame voices. I mean, they spent so much time and money on voicing like the Old Republic. You would think they'd give us at least, a deeper, Kunari voice. I mean, if you talk to all the Kunari in the game, they have a specific voice. and I just don't think that the voice options for the really matched up with the Qunari. So that's one of my big criticisms with the character creator there. Other than that, it's actually really very robust, as you see, as you're gonna see as I'm working on everything here. I like the sliders are for there's general sliders for certain things, but then there's some real in-depth features too. Now here I'm going to show you the two lame voices that you have to choose from after I settle on my beard here. So that's voice number 1.
I just hope I can help.
That's whiny voice number 2.
As long as the job gets done, I don't care about the rest.
So of course I decided to go with voice number 1.
Everything
It doesn't
you've
really
heard,
fit with the Qunari, but it's the best that we could do. So that's what we're going to take.
Done, I don't care about the rest.
So I actually spend a lot of time on this character. I love character creators. So as you can see, you have the square here that gives you like the different range of certain things. Like you can make them bigger, smaller. You can make them wider or narrow. It's pretty cool. I think it's really intuitive and it's really easy to use for a console. I will say that this Dragon Age is definitely a lot more geared towards consoles than it is towards the computer, which I found really surprising compared to other Bioware games, which were all very computer-centric. I feel like Mass Effect and the original Dragon Age, Origins, was way more optimized for a computer and mouse and keyboard type setup than Dragon Age Inquisition. And I think they were kind of going that route anyways, seeing as how a lot of their sales have been console sales more than PC sales. But there's a kind of an outcry from the PC community because I think the way they map their abilities and stuff like that, it didn't seem as robust as a PC game, a PC RPG would be. But that doesn't really take away from the fun. The game is still incredibly fun, and it's got plenty of hours of content and all kinds of. It's no Skyrim, but it's definitely something worth playing, especially as you're waiting for The Witcher to come out. So here it is, you're back to your standard general features here and choosing your eye shape and stuff like that. And then, but the eye size, eye position, eye rotation is all back to that more fine-tuned, thing that you can do there. Like I said, you can spend a lot of time tweaking your character. And as you can see, I'm doing it right now because I want a really cool character. And it's just really cool because you can actually I've seen someone make a Daenerys Targaryen in this game look just like her. It's crazy. You should just go on YouTube and just look up some of the characters that they created on Dragon Age, and the character creator is really good. I'm not gonna say it's not. It's pretty awesome. So we're gonna go ahead, hurry up here and create a little character. That's what I'm talking about. So you have the whole color wheel, so you can make your own custom eye color. I was thinking because he's so dark skinned, I'd go with something a little bit more kind of feral, animalistic going there, with being the Qunari from another continent. So I was trying to give him a little more like tiger eyes kind of thing going on there. So there's all kinds of cool color combinations that you can do. I made I tried to make like a dark elf. So I had with red eyes and with like an orange iris, so they were it was like a sunburst going on in his eyes. It was pretty cool. And they do a lot of close-ups in the cinematics, so you do get to see, it's not wasted time on the eyes, like in some RPGs where you don't even see the eyes, you're behind a helmet the whole time. But not with Bioware. They definitely do some good close-ups on the shots there. And there are some really, really cool scenes in this game that make your character, the way you design your character and the way he fits in the universe, it looks fantastic. So that's another good on Bioware there. But they've always been good at doing stuff like that with their cinematics. Look at Mass Effect. When he comes off the spaceship and he's just ready to do business, and you could have made him look like a total loon and he still looked like a hero. So that's just their way of their way of immersing your character into the world there. So just finishing up a couple little things here. Alright, Karos is a pretty good name. We'll just keep that name. Look at that. Just fits right into the movie. Fits in with the body and everything. So there's my character, beginning of the game. Stuck in the fade. Looking like a total bamf. I gotta say, this game is beautiful. Again, like I said, miles ahead from its predecessor. Not so much Dragon Age Origins, but definitely Dragon Age 2. It is definitely miles ahead in terms of visuals, story, gameplay, all that stuff. So here I go, about to climb up the, run away from some spiders here. Climb! Alright. And then I'm back in the real world, found by some soldiers, and I'm about to go to prison. But we're gonna go ahead and pick up right at the first mission. So here we are at the beginning of the game, just got out of prison. Cassandra blames me for the destruction of the chapel or the Andraste temple or whatever. There was like a big meeting of Templars. There's a huge war going on, and there was like this big peace meeting, and then the whole temple blew up and killed a whole bunch of Templars and mages. And so she's blaming me for all of her problems. You know, she's very upset. Wasn't my fault, as you'll find out later in the game. But, so now we're going to go make it right, because we have this ability to deal with the problem up there, so, which you'll find out soon at the end, near the end of this. As you can see, the game's really, really pretty. Once again, I'm just in awe of the visuals. But, so, we're going to listen to the story here a little bit. I have this mark on my hand that really hurts, apparently.
The pulses are coming faster now.
Alright, so we're going to move up this hill. I know I said mission is supposed to be a quest. There's all kinds of quests in this game, and they're really fun. They're really story-driven. Not all of them are just stuff, you know, just stuff to give you content. It's not like they're not just content quests. They're all pretty really fun quests to do. You really want to do them. You really feel like you accomplish something after the end of them. Most of them. I mean, some of them are kind of cool, but you know, some of them are good, some of them not so much. So here I fall, and then there's going to be some demons popping up out of the ground like daisies, and we can look at some of the combat, and I can show you a little bit of the interface.
Stay
There
behind
goes Cassandra, and I'm going to grab my little two-handed sword there. Deal with some demons. Get some fighting going on. Oh yeah. Alright, so there you can see on the bottom corner is my abilities. You can, square, triangle, R1, and circle for the PlayStation 4. It binds them to the abilities. And then you can hit L2 to get to the second set of abilities, which is again square, circle, triangle, and R1. And then I think you can have a total of 8 abilities per character mapped out. So this is kind of what the PC community was talking about. You know, it's not as robust as a PC RPG with all your abilities and your taskbars and stuff like that.
It's over.
So as you can see,
your weapon. Now.
Mass Effect communication is back, like the little wheel. What I really do like how they have conversations in this game now. It's they've totally, completely moved away from the Paragon and Renegade aspects of your character. You can basically create your character whatever personality. It's a very more robust and natural personality. It's not like kill a beggar and gain 10 enemy points, or save a slave and get 10 Paragon points or something like that. You can really just play your character with the personality that you want. You know, you can really create the personality for your character, and how it affects, and your choices affect, you know, your party members. They can either approve or disapprove, you know, stuff like that. I don't think party members leave you or betray you in this game, which is kind of unfortunate, especially with the new robust character conversation, because you're just creating a character personality, and it should clash with your party members, and some of them should leave. That's my opinion, but they don't. So there's that. So here we are. We're just going to keep going through here. That's a little, we can go into our inventory there. I'm going to equip my first piece of armor. The Kunari don't wear helmets because the horns kind of get in the way, so they have like this face paint stuff that gives them some benefits. And this is just a basic face paint, but there's some that give you like mystical benefits and stuff like that. So we're going to go ahead and continue through here, deal with some more demons. The two-handed weapon archetype is really good for dealing with large crowds. There's flanking in this game, so you do more damage if you flank, and then the two-handed weapon can attack more than one character because it has like kind of a damage arc. So, and the abilities are really good, and the abilities are really tied to that. So it's really good for damaging large crowds of enemies. Cassandra's a sword and shield type warrior. She's more of a tank. I know she doesn't look it, but Cassandra's a really tough lady, and she tanks very, very well. In fact, I used her as a tank back when I was playing my mage, which we'll look at later in the game. Right now, we're just going to do the first quest, and then after we're done with the first boss, we're gonna jump forward into the game with my main character, a mage, and we're gonna go ahead and take a look at some of the late game. No storyline, just basically some of the zones, the combat, and let you know what a high-level character feels like. As you can see, the melee warriors are really strong against the casters. They're pretty weak, especially against the two-handers. Two-handers do a lot of heavy hitting. Slow, but large amounts of damage. This is actually the first Dragon Age I played a mage, all the way through. I mean, I've experimented with mages in Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2, but this game really makes mages fun to play. So if you were thinking about trying out a mage and you've never done mages before in the other Dragon Ages, this is definitely where you want to play as a mage. They're really fun to play in this game. Especially the Arcane Warrior, I think it's the Arcane Knight, or Knight Enchanter, the Knight Enchanter. That was so fun. You get like a lightsaber and everything. I'll show it to you when we get back, or when we finish this boss fight. Love it. It's so much fun. So there's your potion wheel. Your potion wheel actually gets, it's pretty basic right now. Just have the healing potion. But you get other potions. You get potion belts, which will give you more slots for more potions. And you can craft all kinds of potions and grenades and other things. There's the lyrium potion, the stamina potion, Dragon Age staples. They're a lot different in this game than they are in the previous Dragon Ages. Previously, lyrium and stamina potions just replenish your stamina and your lyrium. But in this game, your stamina and did I say replenish the lyrium? It replenishes your mana. But your stamina and your mana actually regenerate automatically in this game based on your stats. So what lyrium and stamina potions do is they actually increase those stats to increase your regeneration rate, and the lyrium potion actually makes your casters cast stronger abilities. So not like they're still the same abilities, they just hit harder. So that's pretty cool. Different. So we're going to run into the rest of our party here. There's the first rift. We're going to learn that the mark in our hand is very essential, is crucial to stopping this demon invasion here in this short cutscene. There's Varric. He's if you haven't played the first game, or not the first game, but if you haven't played the second game, he's actually an essential character in Dragon Age 2. And there, as you can see, the mark closes the rift.
I did nothing.
And the communication wheel comes back up, the conversation wheel, and I can choose what kind of character I want to be.
You mean this?
How I interact with the other characters.
The sky also placed that mark upon your hand. I theorized the mark might be able to close the rifts that have opened in the breach's wake. And it seems I was correct.
Meaning it could also close the breach itself.
Possibly. It seems you hold the key to our salvation.
Good to know. Here I thought we'd be ass deep in demons forever.
So Varric and Cassandra actually have a little bit of a history if you haven't played the second Dragon Age. I don't blame you if you haven't played Dragon Age 2. I mean, it was fun, but I understand. So they have a little bit of a history. They don't like each other very much. Cassandra is a member of the Inquisition, and she had him captured and interrogated. And he basically is the narrator for the entire, for all the events of Dragon Age 2.
You named your crossbow Bianca?
Of course. And she'll be great company in the
I personally
valley.
think Varric's awesome. I like him. He's a cool character.
Your help
He's
is
probably actually
appreciated,
one of the
Varric.
best parts of
Have you
Dragon Age
been in the
2.
valley
And
lately?
he does a really good job of
Your
making Dragon Age
soldiers aren't
3
in control
or Dragon Age
anymore.
Inquisition fun to play as well. That's Solus. He's a brand new character, just recently introduced in Dragon Age Inquisition. He has a really cool backstory. He's like a vagabond elf that he doesn't consider himself Dalish or whatever the city elf is called. I think it's called city elves. But
Healing magic and mind
once you find out who he is and what he and stuff like that, like who he is, it's actually really cool. I'm not going to spoil anything. There's no spoilers in this at all. I'm skipping all the story cutscenes and stuff like that. But definitely foster a relationship with that character because it's worth it. Especially if you're a mage, you want to foster a really good relationship with that character and learn his
We
story.
must get
It's
to
really
the
cool.
forward camp quickly.
Well, Bianca's excited.
So for the first time in Dragon Age, we have a jump. Dragon Age Origins, Dragon Age 2 didn't have the jump ability, so this is definitely something that really makes navigating the world, especially the open worlds that they have available, makes it a lot easier. You're not stopped by little ridges or rocks or anything like that. And you can still skip between the party members here, so you can play like the crossbow and the mage and the sword and shield lady. You can play all your party members. You don't have to play your main character if you don't want to. And now that we have a full party, we can look at the isometric tactical view. This is your tactical camera. There's a little tutorial that shows you how to use it and everything like that. This is when you're playing on hard. When you get past normal and you're playing on hard mode, which I'm playing on right now, you really want to use it. It's something you really want to get familiar with if you want to get into the harder difficulties, because you're going to be on this view a lot. You want to be able to set up. You can send your casters to attack ranged enemies, or you can send your archers to set up traps and kind of manage the battlefield. And it's really good. You can actually move time within it, so you can you can adapt your strategies and stuff like that. So if there's a time limit for certain spells, you can pass the time limit and then set up more spells. It's really cool, and especially when you fight the bosses, and including the first boss that we're going to be fighting at the end of this. You really want to use this a lot to manage your characters. The first boss was actually incredibly difficult on this difficulty. I died, I think, a couple times. Not in this run, but in my first run. I have the strategy for defeating him down pretty well, but he's still a very difficult boss, and it's actually really refreshing to know that there's still some difficulty in the Dragon Age game. So they did manage to keep it pretty difficult. Now, if you're like a hardcore RPG guy that plays them all the time, I'm sure it's not super difficult. But for the average RPG player, the difficulty's pretty good, especially on Nightmare. Nightmare is really hard, especially for me. I haven't made it very far in Nightmare. I'm just trying to get the achievement. But, all right, so we're gonna continue up here. We defeated some more demons. You got to see some of the party mechanics. And then we're gonna go up to top. And we should meet up with Liliana. Liliana's making a comeback from Dragon Age Origins. She had a very small part in Dragon Age 2, wasn't a playable character. She's not a playable character or a party member in this game either, but she is very instrumental to the plot, and she's one of your primary agents. She's like a spy master, and you can send her on missions and stuff like that. Here I am setting up my skills. Go ahead and do a few bad guys here real quick. The combat's a little, standard in the beginning, but as you get more abilities and you kind of increase your strength and power and the way and your tactics and stuff like that, it gets a lot more exciting. Their tactics are back. It's not as complex as it is in Dragon Age Origins. You can't really set up so many tactics that you can literally just sit back. Like in Dragon Age Origins, if you're really good with your tactics, you can sit back and just watch the game on autopilot. You don't even have to play. This game is not as complex as that, but there are tactics, and you can set. And the tactical battle map can allow you to set up you can defend characters. You can set characters to defend other characters, and you can really manage the battle and the flow of the battle the way you want, and micromanage things to a certain extent. It's definitely not going to be as good as Origins, or as robust. I wouldn't say as bad. I just say it's not as robust as Origins.
Incoming! Help us!
So you can disrupt the rifts, which actually damage and weaken the demons surrounding the rift. This is very good to do once you get to the later rifts that have a lot of demons pouring out of them. So there's a lot of cool things that you can do with the rift, and the mark on your hand gets more powerful later on in the game as well. So that was pretty cool. So I leveled up. Now I'm going to go into the character record real quick. Here are your character's abilities. As you can see, you're not stuck with the two-handed weapons. You can put skills in Sword and Shield, and you can wield a Sword and Shield. And then there's specializations, which when you get to the keep, you get special trainers that teach you the specializations. So you have I'm going to stick with two-handed weapons, and then there's a specializations that you can choose from. Like for the mage, there's Arcane Enchanter, or I'm sorry, Knight Enchanter. And then the warrior has his own specialization. So there's all kinds of specializations to do in this game. So as you can see, you're not pigeonholed into one role. You can experiment with all the different ones and stuff like that. So I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna go ahead and replenish my potions, as well as in the
Well done.
words of Peter Dinklage, I'm gonna open up the loot chest, and then I'm gonna deal with Liliana, and then we're gonna go ahead and deal with the first boss. So we're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna skip to the first boss. Alright, so we skipped a little bit ahead now. I'm now heading down into the Temple of Sacred Ashes, where I'm about to fight the first boss and try to attempt to close the rift, which was that big green thing that you saw in the sky. This is, if you remember the beginning intro, this is where they found me and took me to the prison there before I ran all the way back up here to go try to save the world again. So we're lumbering around. There we go, a little cinematic for you. Ugh. Alright, so that's one of the rifts there. And there's the big giant rift in the sky. The breach, that's what it's called. It's the breach in the sky.
Breach is a long way up.
You're here. Thank the Maker.
Liliana, have your men take up positions around the temple. This is your chance to end this. Are you ready?
I'm assuming you have a plan to get me up there?
No. This rift was the first, and it is the key. Seal it, and perhaps we seal the breach.
Then let's find a way down. And be careful.
Alright, so again, this is an area that you can explore, but for time's sake, I'm just going to go straight into the fight. You can walk around, look around, there's kind of all kinds of trinkets to loot and stuff like that. We're just going to go straight into the battle. So this is where you get a couple revelations, story-wise. Apparently you were there in when the calamity happened, and so they do a little, like, sort of a, I don't know, some weird shadow memory scene thing going on here.
That was your voice. Most Holy called out to you, but...
Convenient plot device!
What's going on here?
I like how I have the face paint too. I think that's so crazy because I didn't get the face paint until just now, but in the reminiscing or the flashback, it shows me with the face paint. I thought that was hilarious.
You were there! Who attacked? And the Divine, is she? Was this vision true? What are we seeing?
I don't remember.
Echoes of what happened here. The fate bleeds into this place. This rift is not sealed, but it is closed, albeit temporarily. I believe that with the mark, the rift can be opened, and then sealed properly and safely. However, opening the rift will likely attract attention from the other side.
That means demons! Stand ready!
Alright, so these guys actually do help you in the fight, which I think is pretty cool. The archers are going to will shoot at him, and the swordsmen will fight him, and they'll actually resurrect you if you pass out, so that's really cool too. So the AI is pretty competent, and your AI companions are sort of competent, but you do want to keep an eye on them. Casters like to tend to get really close to the boss and stuff like that, so you want to get into your tactical view, especially on hard mode. So here comes the boss. This is our first boss in the game. The Pride Demons, completely different from previous games. A lot of the demons went through some changes. So here I am going into the tactical view immediately because I know that the casters in range want to get really close in the fight. I'm going to throw them on these two pedestals here and have them hold their position. This is a pretty sound strategy for winning this on hard mode. So if you're having trouble winning this on hard mode, just follow the strategy outlined in this video and you'll pretty much win. So I got them there. I'm immediately going to focus on the rift here, and I'm going to disrupt it, which is going to weaken the Pride Demon. The Pride Demon has the ability to like build up guard, which is like something, as you can see, Cassandra has it on her health bar. It's like a second health bar. So there's guard and barrier, and you can actually have guard and barrier on at the same time, which you might be able to see when we look at when we look at my main character later. But so I'm already going to hurry up, rush, and start fighting this guy here, using as many of my abilities as possible, and then I'm going to go back and try to disrupt the rift again. And now we got some ads here that I'm going to deal with. This is where the block and parry ability are really useful. So the Pride Demon's a pretty heavy hitter. But you see, so I'll use that block and parry thing. Basically, you block their attack and you immediately counter. And it doesn't actually, it takes a couple stamina. That sucks. So died there. Immediately, you want to try to resurrect your characters, but the Pride Demon is going to really focus on you no matter what character you are. So basically, I just kind of like kited the Pride Demon, and I'm going to let my, well, it already happened, but one of the AI resurrected my character. So I'm going to go ahead and heal up my character real quick. And basically, I'm going to run around here, disrupt the rift real quick. Oh, he hit me with the frickin' laser whip thing. I need to hurry up and get Solus back onto his pedestal there, so that he doesn't get stuck in the fight like he usually always tries to do. So I'm going to try to kite the enemy here. And he got me. And I'm going to hurry and try to run back. I'm pretty slow as a Qunari, which is kind of a bummer. But I'm going to try to run back and resurrect Cassandra here, who's my main tank, so you really don't want her to be dead in this fight at all. You kind of want to keep her alive. Then I'm going to get hit by that thing. Disrupt the rift real quick. And that should weaken the Pride Demon again. Run in, do some whacks, do some whack-a-mole. It's kind of like your tank and spank kind of deal. If you have MMO jargon there. Fortunately, I had my barrier. Solus hit me with the barrier, so I didn't lose. That's another thing with running around. You don't want to run around too much because the barrier is an area of effect spell. It's not a direct target spell. So if you want to make sure that Solus keeps putting his barrier on you, you don't want to move around too much, or he might cast it and completely miss you, and then you miss an entire level of protection. So I'm going to quickly deal with these ads here. I'm going to go deal with the Rift again, which is going to weaken the Pride Demon. And pretty much this boss battle is almost over. Yeah, it's pretty much over now. So basically I'm just going to sit here and keep whacking on this guy until he dies. That thing can take a lot of hits. Pride Demons will start coming out of normal rifts. It's only a boss now because they're such low level, but eventually you're going to get high level to where they're just regular demons that just pop out of the rift, and you'll have to fight them. And they're just as tough as they are in the beginning, in this part of the game. But as you get stronger, they don't pose too much of a challenge, and you have a lot of other tactical options as you gain more abilities. So here I am, defeated the boss. I'm about to seal the rift. That'll be it for this character, and after this we'll move on to our main. Dun dun dun! Alright, so here's my main character, Human Mage. We're in the Keep right now, which is, you get the Keep later in the game. So we're just going to look around. That's Josephine, your diplomat, one of your key agents. The Keep is completely customizable. You can choose the decoration, the throne. There's my throne right there, where you can pass judgment on enemies that you meet in the game, whether to put them to death or exile them or anything like that. And your decisions, of course, change the opinion of your party members. But so here I am, just looking around in the main hall. The more you progress through the game, the busier the hall gets as you meet more allies and you meet new people. There's Varric there, hanging out by the fire. This is the mural wall. It's completely empty when you first get the Keep, and then they paint. They basically paint your story along the wall there. So that's pretty much all of my deeds as I progress through the game. So I thought that was really neat. So here we're gonna go outside. Alright, so this is outside of the keep. As you can see, it's pretty cool. You can choose different rooms, and you can make different choices and upgrade certain parts of the keep. They're mostly cosmetic, really. So for sake of time, we're just going to jump down here. You can't actually take damage or die in the keep, so that's pretty cool, I guess. It's a little unrealistic, but, you know. So here's the main courtyard, and again, you can the courtyard changes depending on what upgrades you got, and again, the upgrades are completely 100% cosmetic. So it's not something that actually affects anything in the game. It just changes the look of the keep. You saw Scout Harding, and we're walking by Cassandra. All your party members pretty much just congregate there, and you can talk to them and level up your well, not level up, but like increase your approval rating with them and such. So we're gonna go back up into the keep, and we're gonna go to the war room. Alright, so here's our character record, which I'll show you later. Right now, let's just look at our gear. So when you're in the keep, you wear your kind of like your regal outfit, but this is basically my outfit here when I go into battle. Wearing the tunic of the Fire Lord, which I crafted myself. A couple little accessories there, some upgrades for weapons. There's some weapons there, different staves and bows and swords and such. So all kinds of cool stuff that you can loot or craft yourself. The crafting is pretty cool in this game. I'll do a little featurette that kind of digs into the crafting because it's time consuming, and there's like different schematics and all kinds of stuff that you can craft. So I'll do a little featurette for that so you can see some of the crafting in the game. I think it's fun to craft your own weapons, and sometimes you can really, if you using the right runes and the right abilities, you can craft some mean weapons. For example, when I'm fighting dragons, I created armor specifically that was fire resistant, and then every time I used a spirit attack, it would give me barrier and guard. It was ridiculous. I was almost invincible. So there's some really cool stuff that you can craft in this game. It's pretty fun. And then of course you get a special dwarf from Dragon Age Origins that she will help you create some special masterworks for your crafting. So that's pretty cool too. So we're gonna go to the war room real quick, and we're gonna go look at the agents and the missions in the game, which are that's kind of fun too. They're really passive. It's not something, they're not always active, but they're pretty cool. All right, so here are your main agents. You have Liliana, Josephine, and Kalen. I believe his name's, no, it's not Kalen. Kalen was the name of the king. I can't really remember his name, but he's from he is from Dragon Age Origins. He was one of the Templars in the Circle of the Magi. So as you can see, it shows you some results of a mission. I sent out some Grey Wardens. Unfortunately, they died in the trying to do this mission. But on the war table, you have all kinds of little missions that you send your agents on. I'm going to do a mission real quick up here. And it shows, it has a little briefing of what the mission is. It shows you who can partake in the mission, and you can, and depending on who you choose, determines the outcome as well as how long it takes. So I figured this was kind of diplomatic. I could take either a diplomatic or a military stance towards this mission, and I decided to go the diplomatic route. But each route, Cullen is his name, that's right. So each route tells you, you know, what his opinion is on the issue and how he's going to deal with it, and then what her opinion is and what she's going to do to deal with it, and then you just send whoever you want, and it basically makes your decision. And then you wait the 48 minutes of real time, even when the game is off, and then just you come back and collect the reward or find out what happened in the mission. So we have a couple other things here. You can scout out new locations. I already discovered all the locations. Those are the story quests there, the ones with the sword. Those are the story quests that I completed. So they pop up as well. Everything you do on the game board requires power. You can see the power there in the corner, and how much power is required to do each mission or to unlock new areas. Power is gained by by completing quests in the game world, as well as finding new camps and setting up stuff. Doing Inquisition stuff basically gives you power. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to travel to the Emerald Glades. That'll be the first zone that we look at. And we'll go travel to the Emerald Glades real quick. We're going to pick our party members. Some of our party members are not available because it's the end of the game and they went off on their separate ways. But we're going to pick our party real quick, and then we're going to head off into the Emerald Glades. Alrighty, so here we are in the Emerald Glades. This is a quest area that is a little bit later in the game. This is located in Orlais. The beginning of the game, you'll be mostly focused in Ferelden, but after you get past the keep, you can basically jump between Orlais and Ferelden and check out all the different areas that you can to unlock. So here's the potions. I'm replenishing some of my potions. There's the bee grenades, stuff like that. Again, all the crafting stuff I'm going to show you in a featurette. So I'll show you how to craft potion recipes and stuff like that. I'm just replenishing potions that I set up in the beginning of the game. Now most of the quests and the story is completely finished, but there are still some things that you can look around and check out here. These are one of your forward camps, and I'm just going to pick up a quick quest real quick. One of the ones that were left over.
It's just one bear that's become a problem. A huge one. Bigger than I've ever seen. It's rampaged through camp a few times, ripping apart our supplies. One of our workers broke his leg trying to get away. Next time, we might not be so lucky. It must be upset that we're in its territory. It's it or us. So
and we can move around the camera and stuff like that. You can actually leave the conversation. He'll still talk to you as you walk around and do other things. So we could walk to the bear if we wanted to, but I'm going to go ahead and summon my horse real quick. This is kind of a sort of a quicker way to move across the territory. Believe it or not, you can get like deer and stags and such, and they're a lot faster than the horses are. But I got this horse from a DLC, so I thought I'd ride him around. He looks pretty cool too with his little sword unicorn looking thing. So here we are going to the quest location, which is marked on your mini-map, so you can't really get lost. And then there's the big bad guy. And as you can see, I'm a very high-level mage. So, and I had a lot of fun playing my mage, but here you can see me using some of my spells. So my chain lightning, I got some fire spells. There's my lightsaber, that's for the knight enchanter, it gives you a blade, a spirit blade. I always call it a lightsaber. I really like fighting with it, because it replenishes my, every time I swing with it, it replenishes my barrier. And I believe the armor I'm wearing gives me guard as well for certain abilities. So here I am. I'm gonna use my tactical view again, and I'm gonna set my ranged characters. As you can see, my ranged characters like to get close to the enemies. They don't like to move out of the way when the enemies get close to them. So I'm gonna go ahead and move them out and route them far away from the action, while I go ahead and deal with casting my spells and keeping my distance as well. Now I have a couple fire spells I can use. I believe I have the flame wall, which I think is pretty cool. It also causes fear. Got my flame wall, and I believe he's dead now. Yeah, he basically died right as I was going to cast my explosion spell, which I thought was pretty cool. So I'm going to keep swinging here with my lightsaber. And yeah, that's it. He's pretty much dead. So we can, so the quest, some quests you have to return to the quest giver. Others, they just end. The quest just ends. And there you go. I can see I'm getting influence, and I think I'm gaining power as well. So I'm going to go ahead and summon my mount, and we're going to ride around the glades for a little bit. Well, first I'm going to go, first I want to loot the cave, see if there's any loot here. There's no loot on the bear, and so we can go check the cave real quick. You can hit the stick button to reveal any hidden items in the area. There aren't any. Oh, my horse decided to follow me. Very loyal steed. So now we're just going to go ahead and ride out back through the glades. So we're going to head back to the forward camp, Andruil's Wall, not to be confused with Alduin's Wall. So basically there's this whole huge expansive area that you can explore, and it's really cool. I think I can pop open the map here real quick, and you should be able to see some of the, oops, that's my tactical interface, wrong button. So we're going to go ahead and open up the map. You can look at the entire zone. So the zones are actually quite large. Some of them are pretty. So I think the smallest one was the bog, which I didn't want to go into. So, but as you can see, it's pretty huge. And there's these little encampments that you find later that you can actually fast travel to. So we're gonna fast travel to another encampment here, and we're gonna explore the glades a little bit more. So when you first get there, everything's blacked out, and you're gonna have to go and find these areas where you can set up little camps. And when you set up little camps, that creates fast travel locations and places for you to replenish your supplies and rest and heal. So at first, you're going to be completely lost in these huge zones. They do feel really rather large when you don't have the camps. But once you unlock all the camps, the zones do feel a little bit smaller once you can fast travel around them all. But they are a fairly large size. Here's some of my scouts. Eventually you'll start meeting, once you start claiming more territory, scouts will bring you items that they found. So that's pretty cool. I don't think there are any more enemies in this location. Some locations have standard enemies. They never truly get under Inquisition control, but I believe the Glades is one of those areas that you actually push the enemies completely out of, and it is 100% empty and devoid of anything to do after that. So we're just going to walk around the Glades a little bit more, and then we're going to go ahead and check out a different area. I personally like the western approach. I think that's a really good place to see some enemies, and also it's a total, we're going to go from a very lush green jungle foresty area to a barren wasteland. So you can see the many different locations that you can explore in Dragon Age Inquisition. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get out of the Glades here, and we're going to go somewhere that's a complete contrast to this area. Alright, so here we are on the western approach. As you can see there, you have these little guys called requisition officers, and they have quests that you can do for them, which grants you power, sometimes items, and they have different rewards. But they begin to cycle after a while, and they kind of repeat. You never finish them. They just keep giving you quests and giving you quests until you're just done doing them. So you can pretty much just gain as much power as you want. I'm gonna call up my little horse here. And as you can see, we have a complete contrast. This is a barren wasteland desert, completely contrasting the luscious environment of the Glades. So there's a lot of different locations in Thetis that you can explore. So here's some bad guys here, so we can get some combat in. If I can get off my horse! Alright, there we go. So I'm gonna go ahead and deal with these guys real quick. I'm pretty much max level. I mean, there is no actual max level, but I'm pretty much stronger than most of the enemies in the game. And this is a higher level area too, so I think the only challenge at this stage of the game are dragons. And then there's 10 dragons to slay in the game. So this is like one of the Dragon Ages that have a lot more dragons than the other ones. And they're really fun to play too. So that's me setting the guy on fire. He's a stealth character. So I like to set him on fire so I can keep track of him. And then when the melee characters get too close, I like to beat them to death with my lightsaber. Alright, so I dodged the backstab of the thief. I knew he was coming because I had him lit on fire, so I was able to dodge that. And you can see that your attacks scorch the ground, and you leave footprints on the desert, and a lot of the environmental effects and little touches are really cool too. So they did put a lot of effort. I think they did put a lot of effort into the art direction in the game and all the little subtle things that keep you immersed. There are some bugs and sound glitches and stuff like that, even still to this day. I mean, it's been several months since release, but it's still pretty fun to play, and they don't detract too much. I haven't seen anything particularly game-breaking yet. Use my little stealth spell there, which let me get close enough to cast a spell real quick and kind of start the battle off. Throw some chain lightning out there, and then just kind of finish him off. And then he explodes in a bunch of icy frostbite. I'm gonna light this guy on fire here. And then I do believe one of my characters got into a fight with some of the local wildlife. Yeah. It's fighting with a hyena there. So as you can see, once you get farther ahead into the game, you are a pretty badass hero, and you have and your party gets pretty strong and powerful too. And you really feel the progression in this game. I like the armor pieces. Some of the stuff you loot in the game all starts looking the same, but once you really get into the crafting and designing your own stuff, you can really make unique looking characters, in my opinion. All depending on the outfits. But I'm gonna go to one last location here. This is the Emile de Lyon, which is like, we're back in like the frosty mountainous area, which I thought was pretty cool. So you got frosty mountain areas, you got bogs and marshes, you have foothills, valleys, wastelands, oasis, like Sahara-like deserts, all kinds of cool stuff. And you can still play with all your other party members. You don't have to play as your main character if you don't want to. You can actually keep your main character back in the party the whole time and play one of the other characters. You can play as Cassandra for the whole game if you want to. The only thing that you can't do is close rifts, or there are certain things that are that only the main character can do. Can't fit my horse through there, so I guess the having the horse was kind of useless. But as you can see, here's the entire environment. Very beautiful, very large and expansive. It's definitely not claustrophobic like Dragon Age 2 was, and I think it's even larger than Dragon Age Origins. I mean, Dragon Age Origins is pretty linear as well, and the game levels aren't linear, but they are. I mean, they're not as open. It's not Skyrim. It's not. You're not going to be going from one. You're still going from one zone to the next zone to the next zone. So it's not like you're just wandering around the entire continent or anything like that. So in that sense, it's definitely not Elder Scrolls at all. But we're going to go ahead and head up over here, and I think there's some enemies over here. Some of the high-level main enemies. They're Templars that have been infected with red lyrium. Red lyrium is, if you remember, if you ever played Dragon Age 2, there was a red lyrium idol, which was central to the ending of that game, and now it's actually very essential to the plot of this game as well. And there's just a lot more of it. So I'm going to be dealing with these lyrium-infused, or the red lyrium-infused Templars, which are now stronger and more and insane. They're stronger than normal Templars, and they're utterly insane. So can't be reasoned with. That guy can one-kill you. The Templar Knight there, he can one-hit kill your entire party. He's pretty OP. So gotta watch out for him. But we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna wander around here for a bit. This is pretty much the most of Dragon Age Inquisition. You saw some high-level stuff. You saw some of the beginning of the game. I love playing this game. It's really fun to play. We can look at the character record real quick. As you can see, as a mage, I have Spirit, Storm, Inferno, Winter, and Knight Enchanter. That's my specialization, was Knight Enchanter. Then you have your Inquisitor, your spells. And so as you can see, I can also respec my character as much as I want. This is your tactics area. The X's mean that he won't cast them without me actively casting them. So if I go play another character, he'll go and use those spells by himself. Here are the stats. These are all passive stats based on your level. So unlike traditional RPGs, which I think a lot of the people were complaining about, was you couldn't really actively use the stats. They just passively upgraded as you leveled up. Here are your behaviors. Much like Dragon Age Origins, you can set different things. The only thing that you can't do is you can't change them. So you can't remove certain behaviors or anything like that. All the characters have the same behavior. You can change follow targets. You can change how many potions you use to heal before you stop using potions, and when you start using potions and stuff like that. But other than that, there's really not much else to do. It's a very active game. You can't really put it on autopilot like Origins. But that's pretty much all there is here for Dragon Age Inquisition. Next week, we're going to be looking at a Star Wars title, as well as I'm going to be giving away some more games. And we're also going to be looking at Far Cry 4 on the PS4. So definitely keep up with us, and thank you for watching. That's Dragon Age Inquisition for you. Again, we're going to have some of the featurettes of multiplayer and crafting and dragon slaying, so definitely keep your eyes out for that. But feel free to like, subscribe, and send me some messages and comments on how you like the game, and maybe if you have your own videos, definitely share them with me. I'd love to see them. Also, I'm still giving away Don't Starve Together, so let me know if you want it. I have the Steam code for you. Just got to let me know, and I'll send you the Steam key. But thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you all next week on another episode of Check It Out. And until then, y'all have a great Monday. Happy President's Day, everybody.